What's going on, people? So, you know how like as a YouTube dude, it's super important to get your videos out there in a timely manner so they can be ahead of the crowd and you get all the views so people don't watch other stuff, they see like you instead, right? Wrong. That is actually a myth, right? You should really just focus on making quality content, putting it out there whenever you put it out there, and as long as it's a solid video, everything else will work itself out. Personal opinion, of course, but hey, it seems to be working out for me. Anyways, we'll see if that holds true with this though, because this video is quite late, right? These came out some time ago. I don't remember how long ago. I've had them for a while myself. I just kind of haven't done the video because I had other things that I, was kind of behind on. So, yeah, here we are today talking about these, right? So, quick backstory as to how this came to be. I initially saw them on a few raffle sites and whatnot when they were first coming around, and I was like, I think I want those, but since I was on the fence, I told myself, like, well, if you really wanted them, you wouldn't be on the fence now, would you? So I didn't get them. And then later, I was still, like, kind of wanting them. I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did actually want them. So I found them on Foot District. They had them in stock in enough sizes that I could get one that worked for me. So several dollars later, I want to say 130 euros, which was about 160 dollars. Yeah, it was not cheap, but here they are. Should have just done it early. Could have saved I guess not a lot of money, but some. Anyways, this right here, according to the side of the box, is a ZX1000 Simpsons Flaming. Obviously, that's not the full title, but I just say that so you can at least get a picture of the side of the box. So anyways, here's the thing, right? I was a huge fan of The Simpsons a long time ago. I'm still kind of into it, So when I saw these, that's kind of what intrigued me just a little bit. And then looking at the way they were designed, like seeing this whole, I don't know, it kind of has that cartoonish look to go along with the show, obviously. But it also kind of reminds me of like Borderlands or what was that cell shading? Auto Modelista, if you played that on PS2, that whole cell shaded thing. I like that look, and this kind of reminds me of that. So, a couple things all wrapped up into this. I was like, yeah, you know what, let's do it. Let's see what these are all about. So now, I'm going to tell you what these are all about. These right here, these Flaming Moes Adidas ZX1000s, in whatever colorway they want to call this as far as like the actual colors. 'Cause there's a lot. I'm going to start this with the bottom. Down there, across the bottom. What you're looking at, not a lot, right? It's very simple, very plain. You got some black, you got some pink, you got some yellow, you got some purple, and a little bit of white down there too. And that torsion bar system, right? It's a little smaller nowadays, at least on like the Ultra Boost and stuff, but hey, it is what it is, right? Seems to work out fine for these. And then moving on up here to this midsole, you got pretty much the standard stuff. You got some white, a little bit of red in the front, a little bit of orangish red in the back. They got this little split going on down here, which I don't know how I feel about the look of it. It doesn't seem to affect the feeling of the shoe, so I'm not really going to harp on it. Besides, I want to move on and talk about this upper because this upper is freaking solid. So down here, first off, around the toe box, right? You got this sort of felt feeling type material going on, and that it's only felt, but it does feel pretty solid, you know what I mean? So it's kind of got a nice plushness to it. It's got a good color in my personal opinion. I kind of like that light purple. And then along the top, kind of got this thick stitched black going on. And then switching just a little bit higher above that, you've got that mesh style for the top of the toe box. And that also very plush. You would almost think there was something in here just the way it feels, but it's not. I mean, I know you can't really feel what these are feeling like, but you can take my word for it. So anyway, so up here again, you got that purple mesh going on there. And then a lot of that is kind of just what takes place on the rest of the shoe, but we'll still talk about it just so you can get some pictures and all that stuff. So moving back just a little bit, you do have more of those thick black stripes kind of going on with that thick black stitching and everything. So, well, actually it's not so much stitching everywhere. Some places it seems like it's more just something just laid down on there and stitched on, but some of the places like around the flames, then it's actually stitching. But anyways, so you got that going on here, and then in the middle-ish area, moving back just a little bit, like I was saying, you got the flames down at the bottom for the Flaming Moes thing, obviously. The bottom piece is kind of like, I don't want to say it's leather because I feel like it's not, but it feels like that synthetic leather type of stuff that you see on things. So almost like a plasticky feel, but I think it makes sense for what they're going for here. And then the orange is kind of like just some stitching. And then the yellow is back to that same material that the red was. And then you got the stitching, the thick stitching above that. You got the 3 stripes in red with that purple mesh from the toe box going on behind here. And then above that again, you have that light purple holding down the lacing type area. And then a little bit more of that mesh just a little bit towards the back here. So then switching on around to the rest of the back here, around the heel and everything, you have a large piece of that same light purple felt with that black piece that's kind of laid down above it. And then that yellow stripe you saw on the side goes all the way through to the back basically. And that has Adidas on the back there stitched in. And then above and below that, you have the same type of mesh you had on the front. It's just that not in purple. This one is in red, right? So there you go for that. Overall, like I was saying, everything on here feels really good as far as, to the touch goes. So I'm definitely like a huge fan of that, especially because I paid, more than I wanted to for these. Anyways, skipping back over to the front so we can knock out the rest of this outside. Down here at the bottom of the toe area, or excuse me, bottom of the laces, top of the toe area, you do have that lace debray type thing going on, and this is going to be the Flaming Moes cup drink with the fire and all that stuff. So there's that for you. Behind that, you just got some pretty standard white laces, which is actually the same thing I just said about the last review I did. Anyways, and then behind that you have purple, which is also the same thing I said about the last review I did. But anyways, it's going to be the same type of mesh that you have down here, just on the tongue, right? But then once you get to the very top, you do have this little piece that's kind of laid on, and that says Flaming Moes in red. And then on the back, you can kind of see it has like the Simpsons thing on there. And one thing that I was kind of trying to keep out of the picture, because I'm trying to get you guys the shoe itself, not all the other stuff. It does come with some extra laces. These are black with yellow tips. Honestly, like, I don't think that I would use those personally. I would kind of like the white ones. And speaking of, these also have the yellow tips as well, so there's that for you. And now we've covered pretty much everything there is to say about the outside of the shoe. So we're just going to go ahead and jump onto the inside because, I don't see anything that I glossed over. So down here on the inside, there's actually a fair amount going on this insole. So I'll have to take it out to get you the real deal. But towards the back end, you do have Adidas and the Simpsons on the very heel area. And then deeper down into like where the foot is, like the front of your foot, you have the whole Mac Ronick signature, and then you have Flaming Moes and the drink again on the inside. So I'll have to have taken those out because I'm not doing it right now. But I believe that now sums up everything about these shoes. So real quick, I'll give you my personal thoughts, which I kind of feel like I may have alluded to already, but in case there are questions, let's clear this up, right? I am not quite thrilled about the price that I paid for them. However, they seem to be worth it. I'm not going to suggest anybody go out there paying resale or anything for them. I paid retail by, overseas standards, and that's kind of how I feel about that. If you find them for like retail pricing, definitely worth considering. I wouldn't go out of my way for them if they were above that, though. Personal opinion, of course. But yeah, these are looking pretty nice. So that's very cool, very cool. But enough about that, enough about what I think. Well, not quite enough about what I think, because I'm going to tell you what I think about sizing and comfort and all that stuff. So let's do that. This right here, this is a size 9. Normally I'd buy a shoe like this in a 9.5, but they didn't have all the sizes available, so I went with what I could go with, right? In the past, with shoes of this nature, I felt that they do feel just a little loose, a little big, whatever. So I figured, hey, you know what? I'm just going to get this 9 because that's probably going to feel just fine, right? And it actually does, right? I wouldn't suggest that to everybody. I would suggest most people go with your normal true to size, right? But for me, I do like a snug fit, So this going down to the 9 works out in my favor, right? Now, as far as everything else goes, let's put the upper right. The upper feels very good, and a lot of it is because you have some really high quality materials on here. I don't want to oversell it, but just know that it's pretty solid, right? So it feels really soft when you're walking around, and that's kind of a thing that I like, right? especially if you're looking for something you can wear all day. That's where this is going to definitely like have some extra points in making you choose this over whatever else. Now, as far as the upper goes, all that's kind of out of the way. It's good, you get that. The midsole here, midsole is fine too. It's still some older technology, nothing amazing, you know what I mean? But it's like with the Air Max 90s and stuff, they still work just fine. Now these, walking around in them, overall, I didn't feel like they were better than those 8000s, but given that this is a 1000, I guess that kind of makes sense in some ways. But I'm just gonna say that if you pick up a pair of these and you need something that to walk around all day in, I don't think you're gonna regret it. I'll just leave it at that and let you kind of go out there, pick up a pair, and tell me how you feel, right? Because a lot of these in various colorways are still out there floating around because they released a whole bunch of them. Adidas did over the last like 2 months or something. I think Anthony Levine reviewed like all of them, so you can go on over to his channel and check that out. But anyways, I think we're good on the sizing and all that stuff, so we're just going to wrap that up. We're going to wrap up this whole video. But one thing I do want to point out, since I didn't really do it before, this here box that they came in, I really like this box. It's cool to have something with some nice presentation and all that to it, because you just don't always get that, But this time around, they did pretty well for themselves, and it almost looks like, oh, okay, for a second it looked like this was like perforated or something, but that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, this TV style box thing they did, another thumbs up. So again, the money I paid, yeah, I'm kind of cool with it. I just wish I had, bought them earlier instead of waiting. But hey, it happens to the best of us, right? So there's that. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I am done recording reviews now, minus the on feats. So I'm going to go do that and hopefully get these things out there in the next couple days or whenever. Later, people.